Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to another day of Kit Conspiracy. This is the first day of using the 49th and Market Alina collection as my kit, and I'm going to do a double page with that beautiful peachy paper that I said would go great as a double page when I was doing the kit reveal yesterday. So I really liked it, and I was like, this is the perfect paper for this, so I'm going to go ahead and do a double pager out of it. And I have, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost 4x6 paper pictures, because they are printed on my selfie, so they're slightly smaller than a 4x6. As you can see, they don't span the entire width of the 12x12 paper, and if they did, they would be a true 4x6. But I really like that they're a little bit smaller because it gives me just a little bit of room to let that paper show and from behind and not take up the entire horizontal swatch of it. And it also allows me to use something as a mat. So I'm pretty happy with the printer and the fact that it's a little bit smaller than a 4x6, and it's printing with that white border around it also. I do trim down the white border a little bit because I like the really small white border, and I just do that with my scissors. I did that for all of my photos ahead of time, so you're not going to see that, but a lot of times on my photo or on my video, you will see me trim down my photos at the beginning. I thought I was going to use that kind of gray blue paper as my background across the where the 3 portrait style photos are, and then I decided not to because I didn't have another sheet of it, and I just have this scrap of it. I believe it is from a Bow Bunny collection, and it's pretty old, so I am not worried about it and decided to just use some white paper. And I'm using some Nuvo sparkle spray called Marine Mist, and I'm applying it with a sponge dauber to create the outside border of these 3 photos. Now, a lot of times with the sparkle spray, the sparkle rubs off on your hands even when it's dry. So what I've done is I've added a little bit of glue to it, just white Elmer's glue or any PVA glue, craft glue, whatever. I put a squirt of it in there and shook it up, and it seems to help so that the silver sparkle doesn't like just lift up on your onto your hands every time you go and touch it. So I need to remember to do that to all of them. I've only done it to the 2 that I am using for this particular kit. I am going to be using the Marine Mist one and a peach. I think it's, see here, it is called Tender Peach. So then I have the 2 photos that are going horizontal, and that leaves me just enough paper to mat the 3rd one on the right hand page as well, because basically I just cut my 1 12x12 in half, so I have 2 6x12s, and then it gives me enough paper to go ahead and mat all 6 of my photos with the turquoise or the Marine Mist sparkle spray. So it gives a little bit of added interest, and it's really hard to catch on camera how sparkly it is. You might be able to see it in the close-ups, but you definitely don't get the real effect of it here. Pay attention in the close-ups and maybe you'll get a better glimpse of it. The teal piece that I am using there is from a cut-apart sheet from the same collection that original gray blue paper was from. It's the Bow Bunny Life in Color collection. It's pretty old, but I had some of it left over, and I recently came across it when I was cleaning up some of my other stuff, and it was still in its packaging, and I just had bits and pieces and thought I would merge it into my scrap bin, at least the pieces that were not full pieces. And so when I was going through my scrap bin trying to find some other stuff that I could pull out to match this Alina collection, I came across the one that has all these frames on it, and I thought that's like the perfect color of teal, and it's already got that distressed weathered look on it, so I thought it matched really well, and that's what I'm going to go ahead and use. And then the peachy color paper there that I am using is a Maggie Holmes collection, and it's got the frames on the other side with the silhouette faces. So I don't know what collection it's from, but Maggie Holmes has that in several collections, if I remember correctly. And so the peach worked very well with this, and I liked how it looked, so I went ahead and used that. I am inking everything up in some black soot distress ink. As you can see there, I've used the large coral colored frame behind the teal piece, the teal frame from Bo Bunny. And I really like how that looks. It's pulling in some of those contrasting colors. I'm going to try and use this faux rubber band type piece that goes across the page. It's kind of like a twine. It's not really a rubber band, it's a twine. But it's not real. It's just, the laser cut chipboard that it is cut out of. But it's the perfect size to fit across the photo there and with the matting on it or behind it. So I thought I would go ahead and try and use that. My only problem is that the little loop kind of goes up in our faces, and if I turn it over, it kind of extends a little too far. So I am going to trim that down, and you'll see that in just a moment here after I build this embellishment cluster on the right hand side. I am going to use that coral color ticket there, and I want to make sure that I leave the date available so that I can circle the date on it, rather than stamping the date somewhere, or maybe, well, I will probably put some of the information in my journaling, but it does have a spot for a date on it, so I'm going to go ahead and circle the date on that. And you're not going to see that on camera because I didn't do any of my journaling on camera. I rarely do, mostly because it doesn't make for very interesting viewing, but I do usually tell you where I'm going to do journaling if I am going to do some journaling. I am just using a ruler to align the frame so that it looks like it is continuous in all one piece. And just any ruler works really well for that. And then I just use my liquid glue to adhere it down at the bottom so I don't actually lift it up, because as you see there, I lifted up the top one and I have to actually get the ruler out again and align it. And now I'm doing the same with that teal piece. And sometimes, I don't really measure, but when I'm kind of like on an angle, I don't want it to look disjointed. So I am definitely aligning them, even though I'm not really like measuring or anything. I'm just using it as a straight edge. You could also just use this, the straight edge of a branding strip or a piece of paper to align that if you don't have a ruler handy. Anything that is straight will work. I really like the addition of those teal pieces because they bring in some of those darker colors. And there are some teal pieces in the chipboard or the embellishment pack, but they are larger, and so I wanted something a little bit smaller, and these worked really well. Now I'm just going to use some tickets up here and some tickets and labels to kind of finish things off. I am going to pop some of them up onto some foam tape to give some added dimension. And in case you're wondering about those photos, we are at the Milwaukee Museum of Art. You can see on the right hand side I've got a photo of the information about the museum. It's a really interesting museum. In the photos you can see those two large wings that kind of extend out from the center, and in the photo on the right hand side it kind of looks like there's movement. Those wings do actually open and close. We did not get to see them open and close, but my husband really wanted to go and check it out because he works for an architectural and design firm, and he's really interested in looking at those kinds of things and just kind of learning more about them. And so it was really interesting to go and check it out. It's a beautiful museum, very white and clean inside. I mean, not that I expect it to be dirty, but everything's very white and very modern inside. So very pretty. They had lots of cool things inside, and I'm going to have a couple other pages about some of the displays inside, so you'll have to watch for later in the week to see that. I am using the faux buttons from this collection, and unfortunately that really dark coral one at the bottom on the left hand page, when I lift up my paper, it goes like missing. I don't know where it went off to, but I looked high and low for it and couldn't find it, so I end up just adding another turquoise one. And I was kind of sad about that because the darker coral one really helped, or it really looked really good down there, because it contrasts with the teal that it's sitting on, but for whatever reason I just could not find it. I did ink those up with Black Soot Distress ink, and I popped them up onto some foam tape just to give some added dimension. And here's about where I decide the loops on that thing are just kind of too big and bulky over the photos. They're not that they're big, but they're just extending too far. So I just trimmed them down to make it look like there's two little tied edges. And I like how it looks a lot better. It's not getting in the way of our faces or the photo behind or below it. I am using my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive to adhere all of those down. I ended up going with a heart button, faux button for the upper left-hand embellishment area, and I just used my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive for that band around the photos as well. It seemed like the best option since the little bands are so narrow. It's not like I could easily use my ATG or something like that, so I just was very cautious when I put it down so that it didn't have to be adjusted up or down and have a smear of glue on the photo. While I adhere those buttons down, I just want to take a moment to remind you that MK has a video up on her channel today for Kit Conspiracy. We are releasing or posting a video every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. That is our commitment. But in all likelihood, we are going to get videos probably almost every day from either one of us or both of us, because that's just seems to be the way it's been going all month long. If you have missed any of this series, you can go back for any of the weeks of November, and the Monday posting will be a kit share, and then the remaining days of the week we will be creating videos or layouts based on those kits that we shared on Monday. So each week is a new kit. We are using the same kit, so you get to see different ways that we are using it. And this time around, we've done this series I think a couple of times before, but this go around we actually used the same photos the first week as well, because they were an event that we went to together. So if you want to go and check that out, that was the first week of November, and there's tons of inspiration. You can also just look up Kit Conspiracy as a playlist on my channel if you're interested in looking at all of the ones that have been done thus far for this November and in prior go-arounds that we did this series. I am adding some turquoise sequins just to add a little bit of extra bling, and I really like the way that came out. And that is it, you guys. I am going to add some journaling. It'll probably be below the peach area where directly in line with where it says Milwaukee Art Museum. And I did use my Sidekick to cut those out. I used some small dies from Paper Rose. I'll put links down below for the products that I used in case you're interested in that to create that title. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Bye-bye.